Good afternoon. My name is Robert Mitchell. I'm delivering a statement on behalf of Doug Ritter of Knife Rights, and I've also taken the liberty of tailoring some of this, his statement in response to some of the things that was brought up by the Advisory Council today. Knife Rights represents millions of knife owners, knife makers, scrimshaw artists, knife retailers, and suppliers, many of whom own legally acquired ivory or knives. Knife Rights opposes the domestic ban on commercial sales and trade in ivory within the United States. The action unfairly and illegally persecutes honest ivory owners who find their investment in legally acquired ivory taken by government edict and made worthless in violation of 5th and 14th Amendment principles. In fact, many people's very livelihoods will be stolen from them in some cases. They'll find themselves treated not only as criminals, but they find themselves in the position of not being able, of the onus being placed on them as opposed to the government to prove their illicit activity. What I've heard today, especially in the parts at the end of the presentation dealing with public-private partnerships, is a total lack of any participation of people who are dealing in the legal domestic ivory trade within the United States. The domestic ivory trade within the United States has been functioning since the 1989 ban, and the people who have been participating in it have scrupulously applied and complied with the laws in order to avoid the terrible, barbaric issues that are associated with elephant poaching. They appreciate the fact that ivory is important to their lifestyles, and they want to do nothing that would jeopardize their livelihoods and the skills that they've brought, sometimes in families for generations. So it's of great concern that advisory councils would form, omitting the entire class of people that is going to be most directly impacted and most severely affected by the bans that you're proposing on domestic trade of ivory. You'll hear from other people in the room, time permitting, whose individual livelihoods are going to be quashed by the fact that you're taking an action on a market that has already been isolated and acknowledged as isolated in the Fish and Wildlife Service's 2012 reports, in CITES reports, that shows that the trade of poached ivory in the United States is de minimis because of the success that Fish and Wildlife has had over the years in restricting the imports coming into the United States. I fear that there is a grave lack of understanding about what domestic ivory trade is in the United States right now, and I would encourage the Advisory Council, instead of taking a heavy-handed approach, which is going to punish innocent businesses in the United States who have always tried to comport with the laws, in a futile attempt to try to affect demand in China, where the problems are well known, but because of the success the United States has had in controlling illegal imports into this country, remains a relatively small problem here. The frustration is understandable. The enthusiasm for trying to save elephants in Africa is admirable, and it's shared. But the innocent bystanders that you guys that are potentially going to be crushed themselves under a policy which is not really designed to take some of the direct actions. I applaud the direct actions on money laundering, enforcement in borders, all of those things that directly impact poachers and those who are illegally trading in ivory. That's the behavior that needs to change. Thank you.
Thank you very much.